So I feel like what I'm hearing from you is that this is potentially and hopefully going to start a larger conversation. Is that what I'm hearing? Right.
I will. I take a position. If they bully people with attendance when they're being bullied, harassed, financial problems, because it's all connected to going back to the government. First of all, why do people have to attend school? To be part of a slave system that hardly pays you any money unless you could either trick people and you're connected to the government, because all the criminality, I'll let you listen to a little bit, but all the criminality that used to be allowed before, now they squeeze on the big organizations of crime because the government is a bigger crime. But it's always been. This is what people don't understand. Protocol, ethics, orthodoxy, institutionalism, anything that is an institution is corrupt. That's why being institutionalized is criminal. Even if you have mental problems, the mental problem issue is because they want that card that if people start, hey, it's magical. I just appeared with a Buddha with an energy sphere that they saw that's alien. So, jokes aside, the serious part of this, if I ever, instead of putting some other extreme testimonial ones, I will put this one if my life gets livable. I'm not saying good or better, but livable, like more that I don't find a threat to my health. Because this is what I mean is, my case is extreme. And if I might post something from The Alchemist because she explains it better, and I think her research is pretty solid. If Gaia gives her credence, gives her support, Gaia is a big company, but it's also very honest and it teaches a lot of esoteric, yoga and things like that, Tai Chi and other techniques for the health. I'm not sure. I didn't research all of them, but Gaia is popular. Even if you see some, I'm not sure about the yoga, but I know I took a video from the library once I borrowed, and it was about Qigong, and it was very interesting. So this is what I mean. You saw what I showed you from the news, but that goes back that they want to solve. It's like they say, give funding to the Jewish General, to St. Mary's, I don't know, the organization for cancer research. But the pesticides that keep being sprayed everywhere in the fields, in apartments, by force, by the government, are illegal. Some countries don't allow pesticides, not in the foods, not. So this is what I mean. And they've been showing that old people get less cancer in their last 20 years of life than young people from 20. Look at Kim Everson. She did research on that. This is what I mean. Everything I say has research. Residential schools. Native Americans have been followed, maybe not tortured like me. I'm a special case because they have special permissions. Look at the laws that are being given now, put on, even the ones with mental health, because they concluded. They don't ask us to vote for things that have to do with our body, medication that's forced on us, things about school. That's why some parents are rebelling with the gender thing. Not about the gender thing that they don't want to accept other genders, that they force students to do what it's because always it's people think school has anything to do. People say you have to go to school. Why do you have to go to school? Because you have to follow a dictatorship that was hidden until the pandemic, but now we see it's not so hidden because everything is about punishment and intimidation and control. Sometimes when they don't have to intimidate you much, it's better by scaring you indirectly, like it's not the government's fault there's cancer. It is the government's fault. It is the government's fault that people are dying now and young people are getting heart attacks. Do the research. I'm not going to mention what, because I have no proof, directly official proof. Everything is about being official. They didn't like my video showing the ambulance and I was on the floor saying, on the second floor of a Burger King near L'Angelier Metro. So what they did is there was music in the background. I think they did it on purpose to put it loud in that Burger King because they knew that girl was waiting for an ambulance to see if I was going to be too ill from poisoning, whatever, contaminating my hamburger. It wasn't strychnine, but it was things to make me suffer and be aware that the government could get away with literally. Now, you think they like me for saying the government gives themselves permission to literally poison us? But aren't most medications with the side effects poison? Aren't most pesticides poisons? Before, they didn't even allow people to know. You know how much they had to fight certain organizations with human rights just for them to warn when they sprayed. Kids were dying, going to the hospital with funny symptoms and dying because they played near grasses when they lost their ball walking with their parents in these nice suburban areas. And they would say, why is my kid sick all of a sudden? He was healthy before. And it was because of the pesticides they spray on lawns and like where there's the little gardens in front of most suburban or even like areas that are not downtown. They have little grass where you throw your garbage. So places like that, you're not allowed putting pesticides, especially without warning. But it's the same reason why I got in trouble going to the rental board. All I wanted was to them to tell me when there was gases on my floor or in the building, very intense, to warn me. For them, that was too much. Am I saying something that's not true, my dear Applebex? This is what I mean is you punish me on things that I've tried to defend myself, that you've already hurt me. Police, you hurt me every day, and you think that's all right? And I did something that is not like socially or accepted by entitled orthodoxy or status pyramid power. Of course, I shouldn't have recorded because why? It's allowed. It's legal. I'm not in jail. But then again, tell us that we're like China already or like North Korea, that we're not allowed questioning the government or recording the government or opposing laws. Say these laws are not made to be challenged. They're made just to be followed, or we'll shoot you down. Because what you're doing to me, if I wasn't evolving internally with my thoughts, because my thoughts are the only thing that's free. My body is in total suffering. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but every time I go out 1 or 2 days back to back, they send people to attack me. Now, could it be half a day they didn't? I don't know, because I just touched the back of my neck right now, and there's like almost, I don't want to say what there is, but there's signs of being attacked. And people know when they're attacked with things that enter their body, unless you're totally numb. And, people that meditate know what goes on in their body, especially for over 40 years. So all I could say is, why do I have to report things that are wrong all the time on TV too? Not only to me, like now, I don't know if when I go out next time, they're going to increase their torment and torture of me. And I keep telling you, one officer and one recording of a 911 call got me all these problems. But you gave me barely a warning. The police officer, young and mature, obviously, looked at me in a weird way. I say obviously, but he might not consider himself immature. He might think it's okay to persecute someone forever just for asking for help and recording. But it doesn't make sense, police. You could do whatever you want now, but there are consequences. You think you could make up and change laws to punish innocent slave people, citizens of the world, because we're all slaves to the system. If you don't see it, there's even songs that say slave to the grind. Check out that song. I forgot the rock band that sings that. We're all slaves. But once you realize that and feel it, then you feel repulsed. Not only by being a slave, by being fooled that that's the way life is supposed to be. Whether the demiurge is an energy system that's part of nature, that because the Hindus or gurus and all that, they teach that it's not that it's all wrong, the demiurge and all that. Like the Gnostics think they're actually, because God created freedom, he leaves us free right now to hurt someone or to help someone. You could either ignore my plea for suffering and not see the magnetic truth about my energy. It does this with everybody. But what I've tried to say is, just like this is plasma, and it's part of some other things they investigated, more complex than just, see, it's contained. Everything on 3D in this universe we want to contain. We want to study, contain, and subjugate and control. But you cannot control the hierarchy, the intelligence. You could create life only from life. Until now, machines don't create life. Even if you think running different loops of programs, that's consciousness. That's not consciousness. That's why they want to interact technology with our brain. They want to subjugate and take our louche directly from us. Now they're doing it through fear and worry. I don't even remember what fear and worry are. In a technical way, because I still have the survival instinct and because it serves also my spiritual progress, I tell people, and in some cases, my suffering makes me express the ego and say, hey, and I try to hate, but I can't, even though the law says we're not allowed. Just like the law is perfect when it says use the amount of force necessary to protect yourself. Police, that's what I'm saying. You did not have to slam me to the floor to bring me for a criminal evaluation. It was criminal. I don't mean me, you. So this is what I mean. These are facts. And my voice does not scatter, does not disorganize, because it is pure truth. Will you continue to do this to me? And I keep warning you, just how I didn't know that officer when he asked me, are you sure you want to complain against your landlord? I said yes, because I thought there was justice. I thought I just saw the police officer strict because I was suffering, because I saw everything dark that day. This was my suffering because of pesticide. Now, when I sometimes swear at you when you're following me, it's because you're following me and provoking that fight or flight, which has by any means possible. I saw that on my papers, that you could do that to me out of your imagination and out of your perverted cruelness. What about me? I'm defending my life, not for one attack that you did to me. I don't know if the next injection is going to be a fatal one. And the way they're building up, I feel the symptoms hurting my heart. My immune system is all messed up. And this is not me from 6 months ago, approximately, or even more, having done that video you saw. This is me from now. Because that video was a collage from earlier, because it says 4 months ago. 4 months ago I made that collage, but it was from earlier, back even before. So, bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that I could find so many things wrong with what I see on TV. And people know that it doesn't make sense. All I could tell you, whether it's good or bad, is that students have to attend school. Even me, I had to attend school in the past. And I wasn't persecuted by police. I was even helped, and sometimes with social things, the police was very fair. But when they can be fair, they're fair. I'm not saying they do it because it's their job and they don't like helping. Some of them like helping, but it's always from a perverted ego point of view. You can't question them if they're implying a law or giving too much tickets or harassing you in their vehicle. For them, it's part of the job, but it's not. You cannot abuse your power. Right now, if I'd abuse my power, how would I abuse my power? I would never mention karma. I would just keep doing sorcery. When I showed you the sword, the reason why I show you the sword is because karma, real karma, if you do the research, is not punishment. It's just when you don't learn from what God has shown you. When I show the sword, it's just to say, well, you keep hurting me. I've done nothing equivalent. Like, with the law of like balancing equations in science, I was pretty good at that. So because balance is important. Transfer of energy. See, I'm approaching, so I get that back, right? If I don't approach, but that's contained. But a thought, when that is not limited by the sphere, energies like that of plasma transfer. If you would have a sight that's omnivision, you would see that. I feel the energy. I feel the pulsing toric field. I feel that from when you started harassing me with your voice and with being close to me and trying to, like that, police, it doesn't work anymore. You haven't even tried that. But now you've tried to twist it around with a visual thing as if I'm bothering you. You come in my way, and then when I say, why are you always here? You're going to say, what? We're just doing our job. Oh, you're crazy. And you invent some kind of perverted nonsense because what you say is truth. And you try to turn it around. That's the only way you could act tough with me. Because if not, if you'd be bugging me and people could be seeing it, I could look at you and say, just like that time, there was nobody seeing me. Police, you got triggered by that. I know you got triggered because I saw it. 2 big officers. I was coming out of Barrie-UQAM Metro. I was going in from the library, the Quebec Library. And these 2 officers were like staring down at me. And I go, ooh, you didn't like it that I looked at you without being violent. Without being, hey, you want to fight? Or I just said, oh my God, look at the way you're looking. Is that supposed to scare me? But that's the way I look at your physical threats, even to jail me or torture me to death. Yes, my body is affected by that. See, in the past, maybe you misunderstood me. I said it didn't bother me in my soul that you persecuted me, even with PSYOPs. It does bother me because I can't have a peaceful, balanced social life. And in a way, that's why even your torment of me, the social one, even from 6-7 years ago, was necessary for my spiritual progress. The torture you're giving me is making me pray every day, pray, meditate, whatever you want to call it, that's saying to be balanced on the planet, just like Guru Nath, the guy with the white beard, says, the disgusting perversion and suffering on the planet by people that are deluded that that's reality. Meaning is, he didn't say it that way. He just said the horrors on the planet made the Satya Yuga be accelerated 340 years. I finally shown one. Check all my posts. You're going to see one on the yugas. And it explains people that meditate, that are healthy, not like me, and not tormented and suffering like me. So there's a lot of things I can't access of my potential powers, even through my body. But the only one that is not affected, whether my energy flows to my health and to my voice, speech, and heart chakra. Yes, the heart chakra is only a few years, at best 2 years, that it's really functional to a certain degree. But it's only functional on an electromagnetic pulse to the level of physical health. And this, I know police, I'm saying it because I know you already know. Maybe not all police know, but the ones giving the order. And this is why you're also poisoning me, not to kill me, but to block that flow of cellular. If my energy gets cellularly degraded, meaning is the neurons don't transfer, it's almost like if it's in your body, if there's something that blocks the connection, then the energy, plasmic, electromagnetic, we can't understand what ether is or prana, chi. It's the connection of nothing. It's the nothing that makes everything be. Yes, it's paradoxical, and you could go crazy thinking about it, just like as if you could access future and events that affect the future. It creates a paradox. The same way that we're consciousness that came out of nothing, that created everything, that's going to slowly remember that we don't have to believe in one fairy tale. We don't have to believe that policing and subjugating a whole nation of people that are semi-conscious and don't know they have God within their chest, their heart, their energy field, that's what Jesus taught. That's why he was put to death. That's why the Gnostics and the Cathars were put to death. It doesn't matter if Jesus is even a mixture and a coincidences and he didn't even exist in history. Some people say it does not matter. The message of Jesus is more important than him. The message is, don't idolize me, Jesus Christ. I had to say that. So the message is, don't idolize anybody. Don't bow down to anybody. You are all, even the people hurting me, or even the people that I doubt they have a soul. When I say that, I really mean it, police. It's a curiosity. I cannot see myself torturing someone that apologizes for things that he didn't even know he did wrong, and then I continue following him and torturing. So you already lost. The moment someone sees this video, police, that's why I don't even know if it, but other ones were said similar to this. No matter what you do, people know you're wrong. Not only the police, anybody, any paperwork against me, any person that swears at me, because I cannot be anything but good. So that means the world is still holding on to corruption. If I'm still having problems in my life, even if they're minute, it's because there's corruption. Also because there's also personal karma. There's morphic karma and morphic energy balancing. Karma, all it means is the interaction with the intersection of realities, which is 3D. It's the most important, but the most weak. Weak and not weak, because when we have nuclear weapons or we hurt people, it's the most intensely felt, like that it seems like one. You know, we're one in God, but one in forgetfulness. Now, the theories are big, why we had to create matter, why we have to be controlled by the government right now. And the sooner you realize you're in a prison, the sooner you break out. But not physically, we can't. Not yet, not for at least 4 or 5 years. That's why I said, I'm curious, police. It's not only about holding on to a dream. It's not a dream, because I don't feel, I don't know if my body is necessary for my change. I know that it would be better if they'd stop torturing me, because I would even pray or meditate that the transition, if really the majority of the morphic field, or even in political terms, it's going to be more, it should be a totally honest, truthful, compassionate system, like a utopia on earth within 5 years. It should be at least starting. But if you keep holding on to hurting anybody that resembles my level, even when I say I'm part of the elite, yes, when I said it maybe in that video 6, 7 months ago or 8 months ago, maybe I was still a little bit with ego, but I'm not saying you can't totally destroy your ego or you destroy your body. ego always exists till you have one cell in your body, like some people say that orange cats have just one cell. Till you have one neuron in your body, you still have ego. But by giving them the attention the ego needs, the ego is a necessity. It's the fight or flight system. That's why it's more important. It is in charge of your vehicle. Just like when you get into a car, the car is not you, but you feel you own. The moment you're doing a race, especially, or driving in traffic, you're in total control of the car, or you try to be, because it keeps you alive, right? Same thing with me right now. I want to be alive, but not because I want to hold on to this body, because I want to transcend it. So that's why, police, if you make my life impossible to meditate, or you take away my life, which it seems it's going that way, it's already taken away in a psychological way. But if you keep hurting me that I die, then you're not just fighting an officer like me. I was insulting an officer with all his backing, like it's become like a big cell. See, even the policing system is more interconnected. Rightly so, if they would have morals, but they have no morals, or very limited. And I'm not trying to judge you or insult you. Again, just like when I say some of you may not have a soul. You may not know you don't have a soul. You may have buried its soul down. If you cannot have compassion and empathy, then you have no functioning soul. That's simple. That's it. Any questions? That's when it comes to the soul. So I'm not trying to insult you, just like I know you could do whatever you want to me. But of course, there's going to be consequences, at least people asking questions, people knowing I don't deserve any kind of punishment. I may deserve some help, and I don't mean psychiatric help. I mean help with money, or help not being attacked, or help being even helped not to have, even in nature, pesticides or chemicals, or not parking trains there with gases that make me ill, police, putting trucks there that have plants and make me feel better in my area full of plants. That's what you should park there, not trains like I saw that make the smell of all the area be more toxic. That's not right, and that costs you. Just like it costs you to send personnel or immigrants to attack me, and so you save your high-tech French Canadian undercover personnel. You leave them for more intricate cases that are less able. Like, you might think that one day, and I do defend myself as much as I could. Defend against what? What do I see? Just people coming close? So I can't defend. So I just have to defend by covering my body, because you attacked me out of the blue. I sensed the energy. One time on the 165 bus, I saw the energy. I didn't even have time to see the person. They were already by me, but I felt the aura. Of course, it affected my health, that spray, whatever they put on me. So this is, police, your power. And my power is having all the theories of this, the Buddha, the energies of karma, all against you. But not only you, police, because you can't do this alone, that officer or Station 26. You need the help of all of the Montreal corrupted people against me. So guess what happens? That's why Canada got trumped the day I got trumped at the hospital. That's why I got a paper. I think I went to the CLSC, tried to change hospital. They just sent me a paper. You can't. You're stuck with us. We won't give you a choice. Just like police deontology. They answered me. They answered only what they could answer. Oh, but you say it started in 2020. You only have a year's time. Too bad. Oh, the other questions that we torture you every day, that you said that it's specifically happening ongoing, we'll just ignore that. What are you going to do about it, huh? Warlock Super, what are you going to do about it? That's the answer from the police chief, because he knew that letter. He sees my videos, duh. So that's the answer of them. No polygraph, no answer to my questions. But they might still come up, well, we think you're crazy, so we're going to lock you up. They might, and I have a choice. Do I die in the moment they try to pick me up? Because if I resist, of course I'll be killed. Them, by hurting me, I don't even see them. And when they tried to pretend with my hand, it's all like they were just trying to calm me down, and bullshit. They are criminals, and they are after me every day. And if you don't stop, police, I may decide, like I said, I'm not violent, and if I see, they don't even need a warrant. So if they could, out of their imagination, I don't want to say their derriere, oh, I just did, try to lock me up again, people are going to know if I'm not around. So if people don't revolt, this will revolt. And I pray every second I have free, that my mind hasn't, I pray to God to show you in the nicest way possible. But if you keep attacking me and making my body unhealthy or dying, which is going to block all the effort I put to resonate with the transformation of the morphic field, or the Satya Yuga coming in, whatever you want to call it, the 100th monkey effect. Robert Rupert, I forgot, Sheldrake, Robert Sheldrake, or something like that. Anyways, a scientist that got kicked out that talks about these energies as being true. Everything that's not allowed in schools is researched by the CIA. All psychic things are researched by the CIA. Why? Because they want to weaponize it. If you see the 60 Minutes or the Fifth Estate, both are pretty good shows. Considering their sources are corruption, meaning their funding is not pure. But they're pretty good shows and they have integrity, but they don't cover everything I'd like them to cover. But they could always call me and do a show on me, huh? Fifth Estate, 60 Minutes. Oh, you could test me with a polygraph and say, well, his file is still that he's mentally retarded. No, they didn't exaggerate my file. They just left it under what they do to me that's real. They put it under imagination. So they have no way of being brought to court about that, right, police? You follow me, it's a coincidence, even though the statistics are impossible. You give me evil smiles when you know I have no cameras, or you send other people to do them. Obviously, most of the time I'm not filming, and you attack me. And all the marks on my body, you say I do them, even though people know the way the marks on my body were. I could not have done that with any kind of contaminated knife or something, because you would have seen a deep incision causing that. Because you can't contaminate your body without injuring it through the skin, right? And am I so stupid to have to eat or drink parasites? Where am I going to go get them? Because, in nature, it's not very pleasant to do that. That's why they poison things that they pretended it was a gift. Or they pretended this girl was naturally nervous at Burger King. You're serving me a hamburger. Here's your hamburger. Is that how normal you get served at Burger King? No, that's a criminality. And they blocked my video because they put the music loud when I was recording in the ambulance coming to the Burger King, not helping anybody outside, not coming and get hamburgers. They were only there waiting for me if I'd be passing out. Duh. Because even technically they have to report something. If somebody eats at a Burger King and collapses after, it could be the food, right? Oh, but they probably would have said it's salmonella or something else. This is what I mean. Crime. Again, police. Crime on top of crime on top of crime. Why am I reporting it? Because you're not stopping. I wouldn't be interested in making these videos if you would have stopped at least the torture. But you increase the vehicles with that you could see them, police. So other people get that same intimidation like Gaza. Even when they don't get shot in Gaza, they have police presence, right? Army, and there it's the IDF. So here you show Montreal police enjoying their cruel behavior. Most of them, I guess, enjoy it if they do it. But I've seen some doubts in police's faces. Why? Because they know it's wrong. And those ones are the only ones that have a chance of saving their soul. The ones that feel guilty, even when they feel, well, my family or torturing this guy, well, I have no choice, right? I know, and you are right from your point of view. But the price, my dear officers, doing the crime to me, the price is too big. So I guess I am going to cut it short now. Buy from the Buddha too, and soon, which is the same soul that's supposedly now 16 or something like that, or 17. But by 2032, he's going to be 21. I don't know if that's true. Like even the guru saying that, he goes, we'll see. But what we won't see is the energy changing the planet to Satya Yuga. That is not something debatable. That is something felt. Just like I feel the poisons in my body from the police, etc., and all their helpers, I tell you, the world will be more honest and truthful. And if people don't want to accept it, well, you persecuted me, God will persecute you.